This is just an automation tune-up. So I don't know if you have automation, you're using one of the platforms. I know it's, again, I think I say this every time, but it's like the seventh year of the year of automation, and now throw in automation and AI. But we're going to talk about 20 minutes. I'm going to give you the 4 scenarios that I'm hearing from staffing firms, and then what we're recommending or what's working with automation to help combat some of those. So we're going to move in. So the current state of automation right now, again, it's been around, well, I don't even know, 7 years, 8 years. This is still the answer that I get from clients. As much as it's, I think we're now, I believe at one of the conferences, they were saying 19% of the staffing industry in the US, has an automation platform. This is the answer that you're getting from most people. I think that that's a normal thing. So we're combating that. We're also getting into sales and their love affair or hate affair of automation. And right now, with sales being the key, trying to use automation to help the sales team, it is like this. Like, you don't know if you're going to uppercut. You don't know what to do. Is it great? Is it not? So we're fighting against that challenge right now. And I think Jason mentioned it towards the end of his presentation: data integrity, data hygiene. Right now, ATSs are in the middle there, and you're seeing if that ATS is, the data's crap, unfortunately, that's what you're going to get. As much as automation can try to help that, what you're seeing now is there's almost a point of no return. As much as it can do to help, fix, email addresses that are wrong or that are non-existent. If it's so broken that you can't even use the platform efficiently, or you're not getting value, then you're not going to get value. And I think we are still seeing some of that, where I've talked to clients and, their data integrity is just not good, or they just don't believe it, or they don't have the process and rules in place for that. So unfortunately, you're seeing some of that, and where I say, crap in, crap out. Again, automation can help. And definitely, if it's, nothing is lost on that, but, that is a concern with a lot of staffing firms, is that we've got to focus on data quality, data integrity, data hygiene. And then the final one, I've seen this more often than not, is people are afraid to hit the button in automation. Just send the just send the email out, send the text out, turn it on. I think you're seeing a lot of people still afraid. When I talk to clients, it's funny how I just say, all right, you know what, looks great. We did our testing, we did our checklist, we did everything. Go ahead and do it. And it's still there's an apprehension, a fear of turning it on. And I think we've got to get through that. So that's what I'm seeing right now. Again, these are all challenges that can be overcome, but I think it is a common theme over the last probably couple years, especially as we've seen this turn from candidate centric and all those presentations around that to client centric and the sales focus. So, like I said, I'm going to give you 4 scenarios of what clients have said to me. Clients are going through right now in this market over the last 6 months, something like that. And again, ideas to help combat those scenarios. So, scenario 1. Your best sourcer quits, or say your best recruiter, anybody on that side. Maybe it could be a front desk person that's also doing some sourcing. Maybe it's a sourcing specialist, but that person quits, or maybe you let them go and you're losing great candidates. The goal here for automation is to get more efficient and effective at recruiting. And so that's that focus. The 5 automations I would put in place right now, and we've seen work. Number 1, passive candidate check-in. I think that one is just a home run in terms of triggered based, whether it's based on last note, last activity. Maybe it's been 3 months since you have a note action, 3 months since you've updated your profile, 6 months, whatever that is. The biggest issue here is you're getting candidates coming back into the fold. Because again, if they're only applying to your job 3, 6, 9 months ago, they're probably applying to others too. And if you've got these candidates in your database and you've got open jobs to fill, start following up with them. And what's great about it is, if you do this in a triggered way, and say it's every 6 months, you could say, hey, we don't go 6 months without talking to our candidates. That's a great message, from an engagement perspective. So passive candidate check-in could be a number of things, but just getting them to either let you know where they're at in their job search, whether they're happy, whether they're passively looking, actively looking. That's one that I would, that we're always talking about, and it works. It really does work. We've seen response rates work very well with this, and it's nice again to be able to add them and not have to fill the funnel with new applicants all the time. Next one is skills matching sourcing. So you're seeing this. I know, like I said, Jason mentioned that in his AI presentation, just kind of talking about the future of staffing. And, you're seeing skills matching. You're seeing semantic job matching based off of category. You're seeing AI chatbots and being able to, you fill in a little bit of information, they generate 3 jobs that match. That is important. I think, again, it's that Amazon, what's the next 3 books that I want to read? And so you're seeing that with jobs as well, and having something in place there is nice. And you can even combine it with passive candidate check-in. Post-apply thank you. Still, it still amazes me how many staffing firms don't have this in place. The biggest complaint with applicants is that nobody acknowledges that they applied. And they go on Facebook, they go on LinkedIn, they rant and rave about all of this stuff. And this is an easy one to talk about. You know what? Yeah, thanks a lot for applying. We're going to take a look at your background and qualifications, and we will let you know. You could even take it to a 201 level and say, here are some pre-screen questions that you could answer, which helps, if the sourcing person or that person that has left, or you're already down on, with people, if there are standard questions that you're asking, put them in the automation. You'll be able to either knock them out or, fill their candidate record with useful information. And then that helps the recruiter when they touch base with them. New applicant status. What I've seen, and when I was on the staffing side, this was a big one, is a lot of applicants sit in that new lead or new applicant status. We end up opening up a job on Indeed. We get 100 applicants. We stop at maybe number 20, and these other 80 kind of sit there. Automation is a great way to keep these ones engaged. You can also look at what I call sort of resourcing, and talking to those new leads or talking to those new applicants maybe a few days after they apply. And it's really nice to be able to stay in front of them, stop them from ghosting, but you're not just going to, basically go after the first couple because maybe you only have 1 or 2 people to do that, or you only have one sourcer, or you're just stuck, you're stuck with no time. But being able to have that automation setting up in the background is great to keep them engaged. If they're not fit for that job, offer them other jobs. One that I've been talking about a lot, the last one here, is the Silver Medal series. And that's, you may put 5 candidates in front of your client. They pick one. What happens to the other 4? I would send them, some sort of email and let them know, hey, you weren't picked for this one, but we have other opportunities. It could be done through, a phone call, text, an email that's, individual. But a lot of times, if you're swamped, if you're trying to fill a lot of positions, this Silver Medal series is a great one to be able to just, stay in front of them and have a standard, like, sorry, you didn't get this one, but we've got other opportunities for you. So those are the ones that we're working on right now and seem to be working really well on the recruiting side. Scenario 2. So process bloat. You're losing tribal knowledge in the firm. And it's funny, every time, when we kick off a new automation engagement with staffing firms, I'm always asking, what's your process? What's your recruiting process? What's your sales process? Sometimes I get a documented process. Sometimes I get a process that's 50% there. A lot of times I get, he does it this way, she does it that way, he does it here, she does this, we have this process, but nobody follows it. They try this, this branch does it one way, this branch does it the other. So what happens when somebody leaves is that you lose that. That process may be inherent to that branch or that person or that function. And what you're seeing is that people leave. This is a high turnover industry. And when you lose that knowledge, you lose the consistency and continuity of how you're doing that. And for automation, this is a big thing because automation is all about filling gaps in process, keeping things consistent. And so the goal here is when you have something like that happen is you want to cut your costs without the costly layoffs. So you've got all these things happening. When somebody leaves, you already have, potentially lower morale, productivity goes down. We don't know how things are done. If you can, sort of standardize your process, use automation to keep those rules and processes in place, it's a great thing to be able to have things still run and not need that person or that person that has all the knowledge there. And when they leave, we're lost. So the 5 automations that I would put in place there are a database cleanup. This one's pretty standard, just keeping in front of candidates. Now's a great time as you start Q4 to talk about, W-2s and, asking candidates to update their information. They'll be getting one towards the first of the year. It's great to even get, candidates that are interested in possibly a new opportunity. But having a database cleanup there just to make sure that you've got the right information and everything is sort of, moving and the database is staying clean. Another one is a status change automation. And that one is you could use, candidate notes or, whether they do something, they answer something, or they have a note added to them to change their status. And what's nice about that is you have your recruiting process, you have your interview process, and you can use automation to automatically move them through and make sure that they're going to the next stage and using and putting them through that funnel efficiently. The third one, pre-screening touch points. And so, this is one where I talked about with post apply is that you can, if you have standard questions that you're asking, if there are standard things that are happening before the interview or post interview, use automation to be able to send those to the qualified candidates, without having to have somebody do that. And what's nice about that is that they can ask those questions. It can be sent, the answers can be sent right to their candidate record in a note, and then they see it and they're moving through that process. So you don't have to wait for somebody to do it one way or wait for somebody to do it another way. Another one is an onboarding campaign to welcome new hires. And so, once they are placed, you can add them right to an onboarding campaign, welcome them, and, send them all the information. I know some of the digital onboarding platforms like Bullhorn Onboarding, which used to be Able, where I worked at, some of those have that where they send the package to them with all the information to sign. But sending them that and creating a consistent experience among your branches or among your offices is really great. And then, to the point around the sales, slowly trusting automation is use it for internal notifications. Use it for sales follow-ups. If you've got a prospect campaign that's going on and you want your salespeople to follow up and it's part of the process, use the automation to notify them. You don't have to send it out on their behalf if they don't want that to happen. So you could definitely just use it as a notification system to make sure that they're following the process. And then that way, everybody is judged accordingly when it comes to efforts and activities around that campaign or around, they need to have so many drop-offs, so many calls, so many emails to clients. You can be able to monitor that and make sure that those notifications are sent out. And that's super important to happen. Scenario 3. So this is one that I'm hearing a lot of, which is clients taking recruiting in-house, or they're bringing in other competitors or going dark. And so, that's one where everybody's trying to keep what they have, and also make sure that the clients are happy, or at least get some feedback from those clients that they are happy. And so this automation goal here is super simple. Solidify your relationships with your clients. I'll tell you, this is probably 95% of the client work that I'm doing right now is thinking of ways to be able to help staffing firms, retain current clients, look at new revenue streams, and then also, stay in front of those clients that they haven't had a placement in 6 months or 12 months or 18 months. So in this scenario, we could look at, cross-selling new services. I think there's an opportunity, especially if you haven't talked to that client in a while, and maybe you do have something new. Maybe you're working with, accounting managers, or you're into a new specialty. And if that company has that, it's a great way to introduce a new service. And we've done that in a few different clients. It actually works really, really well. We did that when I was on the staffing side. We did a campaign called From the Manufacturing Floor to the Corner Office. And we talked about the fact that we can staff anybody from the manufacturing floor to the corner office. And it was an opportunity to cross-sell those services. And what's great is you're not just asking for a job order, you're not doing the typical, you're introducing them to just a new area of your company. And it's nice because maybe they're not looking at your existing area, but maybe they'll look at something new. The other one is a welcome series, introducing new clients to your firm. So, it's a great way. There's an operational side of this where you can, send them all the billing instructions, all that other stuff. But just a great way if you've got a new client that you're onboarding and sending them a welcome series that's consistent. It could be an email, a video email, anything like that really welcomes them in, starts the relationship off right, because we know the first 90 days are crucial in retaining that client. Another one that we're doing a ton of is re-engagement campaign for inactive clients. So we do an inactive client check-in. Right now, I have a lot of clients that have, working with clients with MSAs. And how do you reintroduce yourself to those maybe other areas of the business, letting them know that they have MSAs. I mean, typical hint there is you can help with speed, the company, and you also have the knowledge base of what they need. Those three in an email series, 3 emails, are a great way to kind of cut through that clutter and get a nice talk track going when it's been a while. But you could trigger this if it's inactive or dormant. It can definitely be sent at any point. Maybe it's 6 months from the last placement or 12 months from the last placement. But having something working in the background is a great way to stay in front of those clients, just like candidates. Obviously, feedback is important. So a feedback survey, an NPS, a how we're doing, a hiring manager on assignment. So not just candidate, but a hiring manager on assignment. Those are great ways to get client satisfaction ratings, NPS scores, and then get testimonials and reviews that you can put up on Google or you can put up on Facebook or whatever you're going to use. And it's just nice, easy ways to get feedback to you, get new business, find out what you could do better, and then, be able to publish some of that information on your site or on social media. And then the last one that I've seen increase a lot of now is the skill-based outreach campaigns. And it's like your typical MPC campaigns, but it is moving faster. It is moving more targeted. So looking at categories, looking at, and we don't just have people to fill jobs, we have specific skill sets that will help you out. And I've seen strategies where clients are looking at Indeed postings and then going to maybe a current client that they didn't know was posting for a job, and then being able to say, hey, we've got these 3 people that fit that job description right there. And so having that going out and just being more targeted with those campaigns is really super important to, instead of just sort of a spray and pray type of method, you're being targeted. And that one usually garners a lot of responses. And even if they don't want that person, it's getting a lot of responses there. And scenario 4, the last scenario, is revenue loss. From what we've heard and what we've talked to clients, obviously clients are down a little bit. Last year was really good for most industries. Right now, if you're break even, that's great. But a lot of are down, 10%, 20%, 25%. And my big thing there, I know it's difficult. You've got to establish ROI and value of that platform, but don't abandon your tech. As much as you want to, don't abandon your tech. It is not the right thing to do. I think there's benefits of automation where you can expand your reach, especially in sales in the market. You can almost use automation as a BDM. You could, your teams are better leveraging their time. The mundane, repetitive task, throw to automation. I'm sure we've heard, 50 times over today's summit about, AI and automation, what can do, and sell new services. So you can offer new services. You're able to use that automation as a salesperson. You lower your sales and recruiting costs. You could also generate new revenue. And, especially on the placement side, if you know that automation filled a job, you're able to look at the ROI formula of what your typical margin is for that temporary, or what that fee is for that direct, and be able to assign it right back to the cost of the platform. And if you can break even on your monthly cost of the platform, that's a huge home run right there, to be able to show value to your CEO. And then obviously automation fills those process and engagement gaps. That's probably the number one thing it can do. All right, using AI with automation. If you've been on other sessions, probably not telling you anything new, but AI and automation work well together. They're best friends. They love each other. You can do a lot of things with it. And I think, what we're seeing right now with AI and automation working together is, a Match Jobs chatbot. It's semi AI, it's not super, super artificial intelligence, but it's getting there. And so looking at, putting an automation in place that automatically matches jobs to your profile, that's pretty cool. Messaging. So you're seeing a lot of ATSs right now. If you were at Bullhorn Engage, you saw their Copilot that has that going on. A lot of ATSs also have some sort of AI infused automation. And then we have our own Talent Scribe that is an AI assisted blog writing tool. And so you see, all of this happening. You can mix that messaging in with your automation campaigns and allow it to, change up the messaging, blend it to your brand. Job descriptions, huge benefit for AI is making sure that you're hitting the keywords. And then just ideation. I think a lot of people, including me, need it for ideation. And that's a big, great way to have brainstorming and use AI, then be able to put an automation campaign in place based off of, what you get. If you're around, these are some of the other automation presentations I'm at. So later this week, we've got a staffing tech automation cohort, and I'll be talking about candidate engagement strategies. If you're in TempNet, I'm going to be, I'm on the back half of the keynote talking about automation scale up and how to get to 100 automations. That's sort of the gold standard. If you're at Staffing World, I'll be doing a 10-minute tech talk on automation tune-up, 10 ideas in 10 minutes, and then also a breakout session for candidate sourcing strategies. So definitely, if you're around, catch those up. Definitely talk automation. One more thing, there's an automation scale up. I think, what we're looking at is that we've got staffing firms that need to scale up their automation. And, we've got, we'd love to talk about what we can do for automation scale up, how we can help you go faster, do more, get those, double your automations that you're at. If you're at 2, we'll give you more than 4. If you're at 3, we'll give you more than 6. But the average right now is 25 automations. Gold standard is 100 plus. So if you're having trouble with that, if you think that you're just not there, let us know. Hit up this QR code. It goes to an email. Let us know. Let me know. Happy to talk to you about that. And if you're just starting out, we have automation startup too. So there's an opportunity to help you leverage and supercharge that startup if you're coming out of implementation, and we can get you going right away and help you get your automations in place and see ROI and see value in a fast way. So I think that's all. I'll stop sharing right now.
Right now, I've got don't have anything in the question window, but I've got my own question for you, Jeff. Been talking a little bit about with you and Brad about the concept of growth marketing, and so growth marketing is a combination of bring companies in, but then really expand the relationship. And one of the challenges as a marketer, as a salesperson, is whatever you sold to the company first, they think that's all you do.
Right.
And have you seen examples of companies using automation as a way to implement a growth marketing strategy to cross-sell and upsell more effectively beyond the salesperson trying to beg and plead? Yes, we can do more than just the clerical template placed with you.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm going to cringe when I say this, but it's like a client newsletter. Oh, I hate that word. But you could, when you sell to a client, you're selling them on, we do this, or we offer, we get this talent. What I would recommend is stay in front of those clients and almost do a did you know? Like every month, maybe once a month, you're telling them something different about their capabilities or about what they've done. And I think that's a great way to keep that cadence going and use automation. And you could plan it out all the way for 12 months and just, this is our did you know each month. And what's nice about that is it helps at least stay top of mind with those capabilities. And then when they talk about it, you can say, oh yeah, it was, we sent that out a couple months ago. This is what we do. And automation, it's all about staying top of mind when it comes to messaging and engagement.